In this video, continuing our affiliation breakdowns, I'm going to attempt to break down the Asgard affiliation and build a roster in under 30 minutes. Hey guys, Rich from Richmond Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastic. Well, welcome to this, another MCP video, and the second in our brand new series where we are taking each and every affiliation in the game and attempting to break them down in 30 minutes or under. Yes, I did say 15 minutes in the previous video, but I just don't think that is enough time to be able to convey all of the information that I want to try and get across. And yeah, second on the list, we are on to Asgard. I did start building an Avengers video and sort of putting everything together for it. And then I realised that actually Asgard comes before Avengers alphabetically. So yeah, we are on Asgard. And Asgard are an interesting one. They have had, as an affiliation, quite a few quote-unquote nerfs over the past, couple of weeks. Obviously losing, first of all, the big nerf to the new version of Thor was huge for them. Absolutely huge. They also lost Brothers in Arms, which I think becomes less relevant when Thor has just been nerfed pretty much into the ground. And they've also lost 15 threats, 15 threat down the middles. They liked their 15 threat. For anyone that doesn't know, it was Loki, Bill and Thor, and it caused all sorts of problems because at 15 threat there really wasn't any other affiliation that could contend with and keep up to pace with the amount of damage that these guys could do. But I think now what's nice about Asgard is they're still a really nice affiliation. They've got 3 really nice leaderships to choose from. And I actually think with the loss of, and he's still in the game, right? But I just don't think he's good enough anymore. But with, the loss of that 6th threat Thor, I think it really opens up them as an affiliation to try other things. The problem before was if you weren't playing that version of Asgard, it wasn't the most optimum. Therefore, you would, essentially lose more games. Now I think it opens it up a little bit for, to start looking at some other characters who you can put in there, both in and indeed outside of affiliation. So without further ado, let's start off, and we're going to start by taking a look at each of the leaders in turn. We're not going to do a deep dive on each of these characters because we've done that before, but starting off, we've got the 5 threat version of Thor, Prince of Asgard. He is the Prince of Asgard, and his leadership allows for at the start of each of your turns, one allied character may spend 1 power. If they do, remove 1 damage or 1 special condition from that character. Each allied character may use this leadership once per round. This is a very, very good leadership. Now, in most cases, a removal of a special condition is going to be more valuable than removing 1 damage, but sometimes removing a damage can be, extremely impactful as well. Essentially, it doesn't make your entire team immune to stagger, but if you save their turn, right, for at the start of their turn, because the way this works is even though Thor might be activating, Loki can actually use this leadership at the start of Thor's activation or at the start of your next turn before you choose who you're going to activate. But if you hold them back and, wait until you're actually activating a character, well, great. It means you can just start your turn, and if you do have stagger, well, you can spend 1 power and remove stagger because this kicks in before stagger does. So I do really, really like this. I think it's a really, really nice leadership. Okay, next have a look at the Mighty Thor. Mighty Thor is really good, 4s across the board, 8 stamina. Let's have a quick look at her leadership. Renegade Thor of Asgardia. Once per turn, when an allied character attacks an enemy character within 2 of itself, the allied character may reroll one of its attack dice. Additionally, once per turn, when an enemy character targets an allied character with an attack, if the enemy is not within 2 of it, the allied character may reroll one of its defense dice. So it's two-sided, one on the offensive side, one on the defensive side. The attacking one you have control over because you can make sure you're within 2. The defensive one, less control because your opponent can choose to just get within 2. So yeah, it's fine. She's also got some nice, action economy with her charge. She's got inner strength, which is only terrain. She doesn't get it on her. She doesn't get the same throwers as the big Thor. Some defense dice modification, immunity to shock, and she's not quite Asgardian, but she's blessed by the All-Mother, so she does gain an extra power per turn. And then lastly, we have got Loki, Prince of Lies. 4/4/5, long move, 7 stamina. This guy just causes so many problems. He moves characters around, he dishes out extra damage, he is counting failure results in your enemy's rolls on both attacks and defense. He gets to do extra damage when you roll those failures as well. His leadership is very, very interesting. While another allied character is attacking, defending, or dodging during the modified dice step, it may spend 1 power. If it does, it may reroll one of its dice. And this character, so being Loki, gains 1 power. So Loki can't use his own leadership. It basically feeds power into him. But he's got a lot he wants to spend on, right? He's often doing the oh my what a pity and just pinging those 1 damages out. He's got a couple of tactics cards that he may want to be able to use as well. So I really, really like this leadership. I really like this version of Loki. And it's really hard to pick and say which one of these leaderships are you going to use in the game. And I actually think maybe with the exception of Loki, any of these characters can be used without their leadership in Asgard as well. So because of that, we're actually taking all 3. It's a really strange situation, but I think Asgard are probably one of the few affiliations out there where you've got, more than 2 leaderships, and you look at it and go, there's a time and a place for all of these. I would argue the weakest of the 3 is probably Mighty Thor, but Mighty Thor as a character is really nice. Icon Bearing Gifts and Prince of Asgard, there's not really one better, one worse. They just do completely different things. But I think all 3 of these characters are more than strong enough to all be taken. And as I say, definitely Mighty Thor and definitely Thor Prince of Asgard can be played without their leaderships, and you don't feel like you're losing too much. Loki is probably, as I say, probably the one where if I'm not playing Loki's leadership, I'm probably not playing Loki, because I think it probably does just eke out the other 2 because of how good Loki is afterwards. Okay, but as we know, leaders are not the only part of an affiliation. Let's take a look at the tactics cards, and they do have quite a few to choose from. First of all, let's start with the 4 Asgard but generic cards, so ones that anybody can use. You've got Doom Prophecy, which has gone through a number of changes and who can and can't use it. Now it's an Asgard only card. At the start of an activation, at the start of the activation phase, an allied Asgard character may spend 3 power to play this card. This character cannot roll defense dice against physical attacks for the rest of the game. Additionally, this character adds dice equal to its physical defense until the next cleanup. So until the end of the cleanup phase, you get extra dice, but for the remainder of the game, you don't get to roll defense dice against physical attacks. Now, sometimes that might be fine. Your team might not have lots of physical attacks, but that's usually a bit of a problem. It can be used as a last Hail Mary, but I I'm not sure about this card. Freya's Blessing. During the power phase, any Asgard can spend 3 power. During this round, you can reroll any number of your defense dice. So very, very strong defensively. Odin's Blessing, we all know what this do. Spend 3 power, reduce all the damage you've taken to 1. Now, there are a lot of counters in the game now to this card. We've had Namor for quite some time, but now we have an entire leadership in the form of Elsa Bloodstone and the Midnight Suns who can negate this card. It is 100% a card you want to take with you, but it is definitely a card you want to pick and choose when you're going to play it. Nice thing is that you always have that information to hand, right? So if you are being attacked by Midnight Suns, for example, and they choose to pay and use this, I think it might be called Silver Bullet, the one that negates any reduction, then you already know it, right? So you know that you can't use that card. There are chances are it's still going to come up in the game where you do want to use it. Rainbow Bridge, very, very strong. Any number of Asgard characters that are not holding objective tokens can spend 3 power. Characters that spend 3 are placed within 3 of their current position. Huge amounts of movement, especially if you've got characters who have been dazed and displaced, they've been moved away. This is a nice way of being able to get them back into the mix without needing to use a move action, especially as Asgardians are higher in threat value generally. The higher the threat you are, the fewer actions you want to use just making a move. We do have some character specific cards as well. We've got Trickster's Boom, which is a Loki card. I'm going to leave that there for the moment because we're going to go into a little bit more detail around there. We've got for a limited time only during Thor, Hero of Midgard's activation, he may spend 3 power for the rest of this round, while other allied characters are within 4 of Thor. They have Thor's Blessing. What does Thor's Blessing do? You add 1 die to your attack rolls, and then after this character makes an attack, if you deal damage, it dishes out shock. Really, really nice. It's just not on a very good character anymore. And then Heart of the Worthy. At the end of the activation phase, an allied, the Mighty Thor, may spend 2 power to play this card. The Mighty Thor removes her activated token, and she immediately activates. During the next cleanup phase, which will happen straight away after the activation phase, right? So this is your last hurrah. The Mighty Thor is KO'd. Really interesting card. There are some other cards you can put in there to try and negate the KO and things like that. But it ends up being a huge investment. You also have to remember that you are 100% giving your opponent priority the next turn. So again, a little bit like Doom Prophecy, as a last Hail Mary to take people off the board, to stop them scoring points, it can work, but you're still reliant on dice and other such things to do things, and you're then losing a 5-threat character, which, and priority. So yeah, can be very, very impactful. Again, I'm not sure about this card. So we've got 3 5 threats in our list so far. So we need to start looking at some other Asgardians. No 2 threats to speak of. There are no 2 threat Asgardians. They only start at 3 threat. And we've got 3 to choose from. We've got Heimdall the All-Seeing, we've got Scourge the Executioner, and we have got Valkyrie. Valkyrie we spoke about briefly in our A-Force breakdown. She's just very, very consistent and very, very good. Scourge, I really like Scourge. He's got a terrain throw. His Executioner and the Battle Axe are really, really nice attacks. Dishing a bleed out on the wild, and then the Executioner, he gets to reroll dice if they already have bleed. He also acts as a bit of a bodyguard. He's got aggressive, so he can get back in range. 4/3/2, so his stat line isn't the best, especially against mystic attacks. But if you need a lower threat character to take a physical hit, he's pretty good. Heimdall the All-Seeing, I remember at one point people thought, including myself, that Heimdall was going to be the thing that solved Asgard's problems. I think they've missed the mark with Heimdall. He is not the best, to say the least. He's got Guardian of the Bifrost, so he can teleport people around. All-Seeing Eyes, he basically can, modify... pay power during the modified dice step. So with an ally character within 3 is attacking, defending, or dodging during the modified dice step, you can reroll 2 dice, right? So 2 power for 2 dice. It's fine, absolutely fine. Or alternatively, with an allied character within 3 rolls dice for a crisis or team tactic card, this character may use his superpower. You get to reroll 2 of your dice. It's one of the very, very few ways that you can reroll dice on a crisis, and I think maybe the only way to reroll tactic card dice. That part of it's fine. 4th end, somebody ends a movement within 2, he can spend 2 and hit them, make a strike against them. Heimdall's fine, he's got some nice things on there, but his power generation with that range 2 strength 5 builder is a little lacking. And for me personally, I prefer the other 2 3 threats to what Heimdall brings. Okay, let's have a look at 4 threat characters. We've got quite a few. We've got 5 in total. We've got Beta Ray Bill, we've got Enchantress, we've got Loki, God of Mischief, we've got Lady Sif, and we've got Hela, Queen of Hell. The 2 I want to talk about here are Bill and Enchantress. Enchantress, you don't see played a lot, but I think that, maybe because of where Asgard were, where Bill was an auto take, Loki was an auto take, Prince of Lies, not God of Mischief, and the new version of Thor was, and there was just no room for Enchantress. Again, now I think there is some opportunity to be able to play a character like Enchantress. She's got a great builder, range 3 beam, and it's a flat gainer, but it's going to be 1 per attack, so you hit 2 people with it, it's going to generate 2 power, and it's got a sap on there as well, which is nice. Enthrall is pretty cool. You want some dice modification in there to try and hit, so slow, stun, stagger on a 1, 2, and 3 wild. Now, obviously, remember, if you get the 3 wilds for the stagger, you also get to dish them out stun and slow as well, so that's quite nice. Amora's case, this is where she's, really good. Character within 1, spend 3, and just move an asset or civilian token over to her. It's a steal. It does cost an action, but I think that's really, really good. Siren's Call, spend 2, move somebody away. Hell Hath No Fury, size 2 terrain throw. It's fine, it is what it is. And then Enchanting, when an enemy character targets this character with an attack, it may use its Mystic Defense regardless of the attack type, unless the attacking character pays 2. This is just really, really annoying, because she is only 2/2/5, but it means unless your opponent pays 2 power, she's getting to roll 5 defense dice. Is susceptible to collision damage, but there may be something to help her out with that as well. Lady Sif, Loki, and Hela, and Hela, Queen of Hell. I really like Hela, but what's on her card just isn't it at the moment. Only having 4 stamina on her reverse just isn't good enough. Lady Sif, we're going to talk about a splash character in a little bit, but I just think I would rather have 3 threat Valkyrie than a 4 threat Lady Sif. She's fine. She's absolutely fine. She needs a lot of triggers to get off what she wants to do. She's supposed to be this, sword master. So she's a master swordswoman. So she gets all the rerolls in attack or defense with physical. But yeah, I just don't really rate her. A Loki, God of Mischief, is perfectly fine, but I think we're going to find ourselves playing Loki, Prince of Lies a lot. The other 2 are in there as alternatives, but I think we're going to see ourselves playing Loki, God of Mischief quite a lot. Loki, Prince of Lies quite a lot. So really then it's a bit of a dead character you've got in there. in the 1 or 2 times during an event where you may not be playing Loki. So I'm going to leave that version of Loki there. 5 threats then. Well, other than the 5 threats that we've already gone through, which are the 3 leaders, we only have one other. It's Angela. Somebody did question why I took Namor rather than Angela in the list for A-Force. I just think those rerolls with Namor are very, very good. Namor is a better character than Angela. And I think because you have that core already of She-Hulk. I'm using my 30 minutes here and talking about different affiliation, but ultimately I just think in A-Force Angela's not the best pick. I think in Asgard she's absolutely fine. She's not the best, but she does have that midline extract play. So if we do find ourselves in that situation, she's going to be really, really good and really, really useful for that. And then lastly, let's talk about Thor, Hero of Midgard, because what a fall from grace. Only slight little things that have changed. I was at an event at the weekend and played against Thor, Hero of Midgard. And I was saying to the guy, like, why are you not using I Say Nay, the villain? And he's like, well, I can't afford it. Like, I'm not generating enough power with my Odinson's ire. And I really need to have 4 power for Have At Thee so that I can get into position if I've been displaced without having to use an action for it. It's really, really hurt Thor. Really, really hurt Thor. You put a stun on this guy now, and he is having such a bad time. Even without the stun, he's having such a bad time. He just isn't very good at the moment. His power generation has dropped significantly. Because remember, 1 dice can effectively be, 2 power that you get extra, because that 1 dice can turn into 2 results, and then Have At Thee going up in cost, and his range going down on his builder as well, meaning that he can just effectively target fewer people. Really, really rough for him. I don't think he's in a good spot, but as I mentioned, I think Thor being a lesser of a character now opens the door up and opens up some other styles of play. And one of the ones that I want to focus in on here is going to be using the tactics card, Trickster's Boon. When an allied non-Asgard character's... during an allied non-Asgard character's activation, Loki may play 4 power to play this card. Prince of Lies only to the leader. Choose an allied non-Asgard character and an enemy character. The allied character gains 5 power. So you pay 4 and gain 5. This activation phase, if the chosen allied character dazes or KOs the chosen enemy character, you gain a VP. If you do not, during the cleanup phase, the player controlling the chosen enemy character, so your opponent, gains 1 VP, and the chosen allied character loses all of its power, and Loki gains 1 power for each power lost in this way. So basically, Loki spends 4 power, gifts 5 power to somebody else, you pick a character. If your chosen character that can't be Asgardian dazes or KOs that character, you gain a VP. Really, really nice. So let's have a look at some characters who could fulfill that role. Let's start off with another 6 threat. I mean, if you want something murdering, Hulk is pretty darn good. Now, what's nice about this is it doesn't state it has to be with an attack or anything like that. And Hulk can do, 2 attacks, and even at base level is, 7 damage. 7 dice on each one. That can go up depending on whether he's taken damage or anything else like that. He can pick up a terrain piece, size 4, or an enemy character, size 4, throw it. His Hulk Smash, which if you've given him 5 power, he will be guaranteed to have enough power for, and he generates 3 power a turn, so he's going to be at least on 8 power. It means you have enough power to be able to do strongest one there is, and a Hulk Smash. which is really, really nice. Or if you need to do a gamma leap to get into place, then do a strike to generate a little bit more power, and then do a throw, or then do a Hulk smash. Hulk is a great choice Hulk's just a great choice for this list, and I do like him quite a lot. Okay, then sticking with 6 threats, and the 6th threat that caused all the problems, it is Gladiator, aka Kalak. This guy, once he is built up, can do a huge amount of damage. Again, remember, you are pumping 5 power into this guy. He already generates 2 power a turn already, which means you're guaranteed to have enough power for the Empress and Empire, because it costs 3. And if you do damage with that, it's going to generate 2 confidence tokens for you. So let's say that he's on no confidence tokens. This gives you the ability to generate 2, which means that your next attack will have 2 additional dice. Now, if you've done damage, right, so you're starting out on 7, you spend 3, which puts you down to 4. You deal damage with your first Praetor punch, which means that even if you just generate 1 power, okay, you're back up to 5. All of a sudden, you have enough power to be able to do a Magister's Might, which will be 12 dice. It's really good. It's really good. He's definitely a viable option, and I think could work really, really well. He also brings a nice tactics card as well with him. And then lastly is a 7th threat, but Immortal Hulk. Again, Immortal Hulk, lots of big attacks. He's got a throw on his smash, which normal Hulk doesn't have, right? His throw is only on his spender. You've got enough power to be able to be guaranteed to do 1 gamma burst, because again, you're going to be getting that 5 power. He generates an additional 2 per turn. So you're guaranteed that he's going to be on 8 power, which means you have enough to be able to do a gamma burst and leave Hulk alone, which, should probably, take out most characters, but hey ho. I just think he's a very, very solid option. He also comes back and removes damage from himself every turn and becomes a bit of a problem. He's also immune to stun, and keep an eye on that one, because that one is really, really important when we get into some of the crisis selection. And then last up, we're going to talk about Killmonger. Njadaka. Why Killmonger, right? Because you're going, he's a 4th threat. Why does this even matter? For a 4th threat, this guy's single target damage output is huge. If he can pick off a couple of smaller targets before you play Trickster's Boon, and he's got a couple of kill count tokens, bearing in mind there's no limit to how many of these that he can have, he's going to be consistently doing a lot of damage. He also increases the number of dice that he rolls because it's focused on the kill. So his second attack is going to be doing even more. And he has another little card called Usurp the Throne. Killmonger may spend 3 power to play this card. This round, Killmonger adds 2 dice to his attack rolls when attacking the enemy character with the highest threat value. If Killmonger dazes or KOs that character this round, his controlling player scores 2 VPs. Now, this just does add in an additional caveat, and that is that now, whereas with Trickster's Boon you can choose any character, you want to go after Toad or Wong, go after them. This one has to be the highest threat, right? He is taking the throne for himself. But you pull this off because you can play Trickster's Boon first, okay? You make sure you choose the highest threat character. And then, again, 5 power into Killmonger. It means he's guaranteed to have 6. 6 can be the least amount of power that he has. Unless he has stun, right? That is very, very important. This doesn't work with Killmonger if he has stun. But you're guaranteed to be able to play usurp the throne. You've got enough power for a charge if you need to be able to move. That's your 5. You got 1 left over. Well, you can use that 1 for a reroll during your first attack if you need it, paying it back to Loki. But if you pull this off, not only have you dazed or KO'd your opponent's highest threat character, you scored 3 VPs. 3 VPs is huge. That is a round's worth of VPs and can be the difference between winning and not winning a game. Okay, guys, so that's my little breakdown of the affiliation and some splash characters that we are considering. Let's now jump over and take a look at the list or the roster that I've put together and talk through it. Okay, guys, so here is our roster. Let's start off then. We've got the 3 leaders as we expected. So we've got Loki, Prince of Lies, Mighty Thor, and Thor, Prince of Asgard. We've got Valkyrie and we've got Scourge in there as our 3-threat options. We've then got Angela as a 5-threat midline extract grabber. We've got Beta Ray Bill and Enchantress as our 2 4-threat options. And then we've got Killmonger, as we already discussed, and we've opted for Hulk. So yeah, lots of attrition, lots of displacement, lots of throws, both character and indeed terrain throws. So we're going to be able to dish out lots of damage per activation, hopefully. So let's take a look then at the actual crisis cards that we are taking. So staying with that attrition-based theme, we've got Deadline to Destruction. I feel like this is going to be the attrition-based secure, right? 16 threat, and we'll talk about what we can do at 16 threat as well, which is really nice. We've then got Mayor Fisk. We have a really, really good team to be able to deal with Mayor Fisk. We've got a lot of non-stunnable characters, and it is 16 threat. So at 16 threat, we can take Hulk, Thor, Prince of Asgard, and Loki, Prince of Lies. Loki can use that go forth, move Hulk up the board, and get him into position much, much easier. I think that's going to be quite spicy indeed. And then we've also gone for Wedding Party targeted in Terrible Attack. Again, I think this is going to allow you to move these tokens around. We're going to lose 1 power, but again, we're generating more than our opponents per turn, so we care less about it. Fear Grips, fairly standard. It's really, really nice. Again, you've got Hulk who can be stood on a back point and just pick that up first turn. You've got Angela who can go and, pick up a hammer first turn as well, which is quite nice. She might even be able to pick up 2. I can never remember. I don't quite think she can make 2. But even so, with a hammer on her, she just becomes much, much better. Montesi, this is really nice if we have priority, because it does mean we can get somebody up to the middle, get that 1 Montesi, bring it back, and have that VP advantage. And then lastly, Unexpected Guest, Crash Wedding. This is in there because we don't always want to have to take a character who can do a midline extract grab. This is just another way of being able to, move a Loki up turn 1. He can pick it up and then move somewhere else. So I do like this. It also causes our opponent to stay near the secure objectives, because if they're not, they get pushed. So coming up against Web Warriors, things like that, this can work really, really nice. Let's have a quick look at the tactics cards then. We've got Brace for Impact, Freya's Blessing, Giant's Blood. This is another Loki card that's really, really nice. Heart of the Worthy. We did put Heart of the Worthy in there. This, I would say, could be swapped out very, very easily for a more generic card. It could be, I don't know, Recal Matrix, Fallback, Warpath, something like that. Meet My Executioner. This is really going to help us with the damage. It's a bit like a bodyguard card, like Lethal Protector, that sort of thing. But it's board wide. It teleports Scourge within 1, and it's when they would suffer collision damage. So this is really, really nice. Odin's Blessing, just too good of a card to never take. Patch Up is going to be really, really useful on these big stamina characters. Rainbow Bridge we've already spoke about. Trickster's Boom and Usurp the Throne we've already spoke about as well. So there we go, guys. That is my Asgard list. As always, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. This is by no means the best version of Asgard to play. There's going to be lots of different versions now that you can put in there. You know, I did toy with the idea at one point of going with I-Hulk and Hulk. So at 16 threat, I can take, you know, Thor, Loki, and Hulk, and at 17 threat, I can just take I-Hulk instead. But, you know, maybe you want to swap out one of the 3 threats, right? Maybe you want to swap out a Scourge and put in a Wong or something like that. Lots and lots of options, and it's one of the really nice things I like about where Asgard are right now is by removing that one busted thing, it's opened up the doors and opened up the opportunities to try different play styles with them. They're still always going to be, you know, more on the aggressive side of things, I feel, but definitely trying different things with them and playing something that isn't the new version of Thor, which I think is definitely good overall. I do still think personally they did nerf Thor that little bit too much. How good are Asgard going to be? I think they've got enough tools and enough good leaders in their affiliation and really good tactics cards so that they could be very, very good. In particular, Trickster's Boon, whatever the biggest bad out there that gets released is, Asgard are always going to be able to make use of it. And that unto itself is pretty darn busted, right? Again, Hulk, you could replace him with Gladiator. You could replace him with I-Hulk. You could replace him with Dracula. Dracula's another really, really good choice to be able to throw in there as well, because again, he just dishes out so much damage. But as always, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Hopefully you're finding these videos useful. I don't know if I've hit the 30-minute mark or not. I've probably gone a little bit over with this one. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Big shout out to all of our patrons and YouTube members. Thank you so much for your support. It really, really does mean the world and helps with the running of the channel. If you do want to support us, you can do so from as little as £1 a month. Link down in the description below, or hit that join button. But you don't need to do that. Just simply liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing really, really does go a really long way to helping us get to that 10,000 subscriber mark. That is our 2025 goal. We're a little bit off the pace at the moment, but I think something like 40 or 50% of you watching these videos don't actually subscribe to the channel. So if you could hit that subscribe button, it would really, really help. Check out the Discord. Our February event is coming to an end. I've got my last game tonight. It will decide who the winner of this event is, but we'll have March's event up and running over the weekend. So if you want to join in, try out some of these new lists and new cards in this brand new post War of the Kings world, it's a great place to go and do that. And as always, guys, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, bye for now.